What's up, fun fans? James Dillard here, and I got my new shipment of Dubby Jitterless energy drinks. Want to open it here with you. Went ahead and got me shaker this time. Learned that you need to get you one of these to make sure it mixes up really good. And this time, let's see, what flavor did I get? Pushing Punch. Right there, your Jitterless energy drink at Dubby. So go to dubby.gg and enter promo code FUNFANS for 10% off, or scan this QR code and go directly via our link and get your Jitterless Dubby energy drink. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good. Ready to head back to work tomorrow, but 7 o'clock on Sunday, you know where I'll be.
That is correct. We have a great show here at 7 o'clock this Sunday evening. We're going to give the fun fan view of yesterday's Palmetto Bowl on ice. We'll catch up with some Clemson basketball and pretty much all the other current sports. And we're going to talk some recent college football news. There's some news in college football. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all forms of social media. And where is our favorite dining locations?
Reuben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering, the best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at reubensc.com. Reuben's is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans.
All right, so yesterday was the Palmetto Bowl, Clemson versus South Carolina on ice. Now, both teams are club teams. Not officially, I guess, affiliated with the athletic department. Right. But you would not have known that when they were going at it yesterday. So I do have one. I only made one clip. So bear with me. We only have one quick clip going here from the.
That doesn't look like it.
Wait a minute, is that not what Clemson Carolina gets together? It's got to be football, baby. Was that not football on ice?
No, that might have been.
So it looked more a little bit like this. There we go. It was actual hockey. That was funny though when I saw that clip. Like, ironically, like right before we went to see them play. But we're going. Can we break down the game at all, Bailey? I mean, do we know? I don't.
Sure.
I don't know that much about hockey, but I know you got to get the puck in the net. I know there's rules about the lines, and certain people kind of like soccer.
Well, so I mean, luckily for me, I was sitting next to Whit, my son, who is he actually watches a lot of hockey. Huge Washington Capitals fan. Don't know why, but he is. He loves them. And I get the ESPN updates on my phone because he's on my ESPN account. And, he was talking me through some of it. The most interesting thing to me, look, it was clear to me that Carolina had a little bit better hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
They've been a club a little bit longer. Their coach had on a coat and tie hockey coaches. And
made all the difference.
They were better controlling the puck. Excuse me. It's like in soccer, you control possession. Well, Clemson didn't control the puck as well as Carolina. And honestly, Carolina scored a shorthanded goal.
That was rough.
Clemson was on a power play and Carolina got a breakaway. So, those things, that's why you get beat 5-3. But hey, had a good time. That I hate to say this, that was my first ever live hockey game.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I've been to some hockey, and see, Grayson and I are Bruins fans, and there's a story behind how we got to be Bruins fans, and I'll save that for another show.
Okay.
As Bailey said, when the teams were shaking hands, the score was 5-3 in favor of the Gamecocks. I noticed. I mean, you could tell that the Carolina as a team, we have some pretty fast skaters, but as a team, those guys seem to be a little faster. And the bottom line, if you can, that helps control the puck. If you can get to it quicker and get up and down the ice quicker. But we did have
it was still fun.
Oh, it was fun. We had a great time. There we are. We didn't get our entire group in the picture, but there's the fun fans with the hockey guru Wit.
That's it.
At the place, and it's an exciting sport. I mean, it is a fun sport to watch. It's way more fun, I think, in person than most sports are way more fun in person than on TV. But hockey just takes it definitely to another level. I thought there was a very good crowd. How many people? 3,000-4,000 people at least were there, maybe more.
Yeah, maybe.
There were definitely more than they expected to be there because they only had one concession stand open until about halfway through the entire event. So they opened another concession stand. And, for most Clemson fans, it was a really good location being in downtown Greenville. But I give the Gamecock fans some credit. I think we were outnumbered, Bailey. Don't you think? The fan.
Yeah, and I tell you, the only one I took exception to was the Swamp Rabbit mascot, who clearly was pulling for the Gamecocks.
What's up with that? He's supposed to be a homer. We're supposed to be a home game for us.
And I told Whit, I said, he better not waddle over here with that mess.
Yeah. So the Swamp Rabbit, the Tiger Cub, the Tiger and the Tiger Cub were there, right?
And the drum line.
And the drum line, but Cocky was not there because it was like a home match for us. So the Swamp Rabbit took it upon him or her itself to kind of become the mascot for the Gamecocks, and that was just like a slap in the face of upstate fans.
Like I said, good thing he didn't come over to our seat.
Well, if they would have come over, there may have been more fights. So the only thing, in my opinion, another breakdown, you talk about hockey, and, you don't want there to be like big brawls or whatever, but you go to hockey for the hits, and they let them get into it a little more. So that kind of makes it a little more fun for the fans. But I think there were a minimal amount of fights considering it was hockey and a rivalry match.
Yeah, it was a little chippy. It was a little chippy.
That's about all it got to. So
yeah.
Anyway, it was fun, and look forward to, if they do that again next year, we'll plan on being there next year. Maybe if they start playing at the Bilo Center more often, that might be a place to go. The place Clemson normally plays wouldn't really be very conducive for fans at all. But anyway,
right.
About that, let's move on to other sports that are going on right now. It's time for Bailey to talk about basketball.
Well, as I said before they played the Tar Heels, I thought Clemson needed to win 6 games to get into the NCAA tournament. I was wrong. They're in solidly.
Pretty much.
They've won like 4 out of their last 5 or something like that. They won last night against Florida State. It's a big game Tuesday, and it's a big game because of the seeding for the ACC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The best Clemson can do is 4th. But I'm just going to – this is what coaches do. We look at the bracket ahead of time, and we think, where would be the best place
right
to land? I don't like 4th. Even though you get a double bye and you basically advance 2 rounds in the tournament. If you win that first game, you more than likely play North Carolina, which North Carolina's a good team. We've already talked about that, yada, yada, yada. But if you actually finish 6th, which there's still a chance of that, you could be matched up with the 3rd place team, which is either going to be Wake Forest or Duke, depending on how it ends up the last 2 weeks. And Clemson still has a game Tuesday night against Pittsburgh at home. They beat Pittsburgh way back in December at Pitt. Pitt's been playing really well lately.
Yeah.
Both teams are 9-7. So that's a huge game. Clemson is 1 game out of 4th place.
Yes, there are 4 or 5 teams kind of squeezed into that after 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and then you play at Notre Dame
mm-hmm.
Saturday, and then at home against Syracuse the next Tuesday, which is supposed to be senior day. So It is what it is. And then the last regular season game is at Wake Forest, which will be a very, very tough game to play.
Yeah.
But anyway, they seem to play better in tough situations on the road anyway.
Yeah.
So it's happening. It's happening.
Pulled out last night. Obviously played good enough to win, but they do seem to play better. They still play better on the road. And the only loss in this little stretch, is it the only loss? Is that like heartbreaking 1 point loss? And that was kind of crazy.
They've lost their games in conference, other than the North Carolina game. It's like a total of 8 points. Their losses, something like that. And then the ACC tournament starts on March 12th in Washington, D.C.
March 12th. All right. Well, we look forward to the postseason for Clemson. And like Bailey, and Bailey's not the only one saying, if you're watching the games and listening to the folks on the bracketology, Clemson is, they're in like Flynn. It'd be very unfortunate if they lost out. They might drop to a 10 seed or something instead of but right now they're projected like a 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, like 5. They're 25th in the net, which is that's a 4 or 5 seed, 6 seed max right now.
So that's a big deal. All right. Other winning programs at Clemson, gymnastics defeated
the University of North
Carolina recently. So that's awesome. And they're just everybody. You go to work, you go places, you see on social media, still extremely fun. We need to go to a gymnastics meet, Bailey. Everybody's fired up.
If I can get
baseball. Baseball had a successful weekend, took the series from Kennesaw State.
Right? I don't know if it was successful or not. They got beat 18-1 Friday.
Well, I'm gonna play your role. That happens. It's just one game. The amount of runs you lose, and seriously, and sometimes a baseball game just gets away from you.
Well, and the greatest thing is Coach Bakich took out the entire lineup and put subs in. I love it.
Yeah.
If you're going to go out there and stink up the field, we'll give somebody else a chance to go out there. I love it.
Amen. And that would be their only loss on the season now, so that would put the Clemson, they're ranked 9th or 10th, depending on what poll you look at. Let's see, 4, 5, 6-1 on the season. Yeah. So doing really well. Play USC Upstate.
Hey, so I tried to watch the game today. It was on ACC Extra.
Mm-hmm.
They apologized on Twitter for having one camera only. The camera was on top of it. Seemed like it was on top of the press box and had a complete shot of the field. You couldn't see anything.
You're so small.
And it had the radio feed from, I guess it's 97.5 The Fan. And it would zoom in some, but it was pretty bad. So I noticed some people said some things about it on Twitter, and because softball was playing at the same time, they had to share cameras. So we don't have more than 2 cameras.
Well, so who is the we there? Is that a Clemson thing, or is that
when it's an ACC Extra, Clemson in-house films the games.
Yeah, I guess we only have 2 cameras.
Yeah, I guess. So it was just hard to watch. I was really looking forward to watching it, and then I just had to turn it off because I couldn't see anything anyway.
Not a fun experience.
They got the dub.
Yeah, and it makes me feel better because by the time I found my password for ESPN Plus or whatever it's called, the game was over. So that was not cool. And softball, speaking of, they won again.
Yep, won the Clemson Classic.
They beat. Or was it a tournament?
Well, I guess they just had 3 teams came in.
Okay, yeah.
Ole Miss, Miami, Ohio, and that might be it. Might have been 3 teams. But they beat Ole Miss today. And what I also read was that former podcast guest Brooke McCubbin is 5-0 on the season as a pitcher.
Brooke.
Yep.
So Brooke.
Getting it done. All because of her exposure here.
Well, and I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
And she hangs out with our boy Mac. And you know what Mac is just slap full of?
Probably energy.
I don't know if he drinks Dubby, but he's sure he could be the poster child. But if you need some energy, go to w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS for your 10% off of your jitterless energy drink. new flavor came out. I saw an email today. That's really good stuff. Very refreshing instead of that hot cup of coffee that I used to drink in the middle of the afternoon to get through. All right, so in some other sports news, there's kind of a long list, but we're just going to hit these things real quick. I'm excited about the UFL. We talked about picking a team and how you get to be a fan of a team, and we're going to do this on a different show. We're going to pick a team for the fun fans to pull for, or we can pick, to our own 2 different teams. There's only 8 teams to choose from, and but we'll put some time on the show to explain why we're picking a team.
I'm gonna look at the roster first.
Well, I kind of started on that today, and but we'll do that because I'm excited about that. It's going to be, like I said, we think it's going to be legit. They've got some money. They've merged, and they got some good players. I mean, they literally NFL practice squad. Looking at the rosters, guys that were drafted but just kind of didn't make a team or whatever. So they're going to have some players, and we're looking forward to the UFL coming in March. Okay, so this is some news. The 12-team college football playoff format was announced this week, or the adjustment. So as we all know, since the Pac-12 plus or whatever it used to be is essentially, Pac-0 now. Yeah. Instead of the top 6 conference champions automatically making it into the 12-team playoff, they simply used a little bit of common sense. It's crazy. And they dropped it to the top 5 conference champions, and they're seeded 1 through 5 based on their ranking in the college football playoff ranking. And, the 1 through 4 get the buys. This is extremely interesting because I've looked and I've looked and I've looked, and I've listened and I've listened and I've listened. But this means a handful of things here. It does not designate conferences.
Right.
We all assume that SEC, ACC, the big 4 now.
Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Everybody's assuming that the conference champion from those conferences are going to be one of those 5. And more than likely they will be. But from what I've seen and how it reads, there is no guarantee.
Right. In
the crazy event that, let's just, everybody says ACC is the weak one. Let's play the weak role. Or maybe it's Big 12. But somebody comes out of that conference and wins that championship, and they're ranked lower than the conference champion from Conference USA and American Conference. They're not going to be guaranteed a spot. They might get in, but they're not going to be guaranteed a spot. That's interesting. And that's right?
I mean, you've clearly done more research on this than I have. I've listened to talk radio about it. That's about it. But they're already talking about expanding it.
Okay, so that's the next. But for the next probably 2 years, this is the way it's going to be.
Let's talk about Notre Dame first. Is Notre Dame mentioned?
The other thing that is extremely interesting in this, if the top 5 seeds are from those top ranked conference champions, that means Notre Dame, the highest they could possibly be seeded is 6. They could be undefeated and have whooped everybody up one side and down the other, and they will not get a bye. They will be the 6th.
Look into this a little bit.
I'm telling you, that's the way because I have read and heard that as well. And the final piece that it didn't hit me until I listened to the folks talking about this. Everybody thinks 12, the top is 12-team playoff, 12 team.
No.
If you're ranked number 11 or 12 in the college football rankings at the end of the season, that does not guarantee that you're going to get into playoffs.
Unless Liberty or somebody like that is ranked 9th.
Correct.
But they could be unranked and they get in. The best group of 5 team gets in, period.
Correct. So if a team outside of 12 gets in, that bumps 12 out. If 2 teams, hypothetically speaking, outside of 12 get in, boom, that bumps 2 teams out.
Right.
So really, if you want to make sure you make the playoffs, you might still want to be a conference champion and in the top 10.
Right.
Of the college football play. So I thought that was But all right, on to what you were saying. The TV deal is only for 2 years, so everybody's already saying it's going to change in 2 years. And what we're going to do, Bailey, you got anything to say? You were about to bring that up. What do you think about that lasting 2 years?
Well, I mean, so you got a TV deal for 2 years. You have to plan this stuff ahead of time.
Correct.
So,
like you said, they're already talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you build a high school, it takes 3 years, 4 years,
Yeah,
to get it all done. So anyway, I would say they have to look to the future, and they probably, I don't know why it wouldn't just be 16. That eliminates the bye situation. Most football coaches don't want buys anyway. I mean, you get in a rhythm, you get in a routine. Football coaches, football players are about routine, about doing the same thing. That's why you see some teams. What it would do also is keep people from opting out of these games. That's the end result they're looking for. But yeah, I mean, you got to start talking about it.
They're start talking about it. So what we're going to do is that we're teasing for another show. So we'll do another show on what the Fun Fans think should happen. We'll do what we project is going to happen and what we think actually should happen when it comes to the 2 years from now after this 12 team.
I have a thought right quick. If
right.
Clemson has a winning record, they're in every year, and they get to play at home, so we can have another home game to go to.
Yeah, I like
there
that.
You go.
I like that.
That's format. Clause 23B-8.
I'm in. Okay, so more college football news specific to Clemson. I text Bailey, or we talked about it a little bit. So an email came out from IPTAY, and this is kind of not good news. The parking with the construction. So it's good news. It's a good problem to have. There's so many people want to come to the game. Some people want to come and park and tailgate, which is still good. And the university itself is growing. It's going to be a handful of years before they finish the parking deck they've actually approved to start. I don't know if they've started yet. And then another one's not till way on down the road. But the parking on campus, we know what that's like. It's one level and wherever you can find a space, so it spreads out and goes and goes and goes.
Right.
And according to the email, as donors are increasing their giving and they're retaining donors, it's money talks and everybody else gets bumped down. So we got some bad news this week. There's a chance that the Fun Fans might lose the parking spot on the Centennial Extension. That would be devastating.
Have to relocate.
Yeah, but so we're working on that, and wherever we land, it is going to be a Fun Fan tailgate.
That's right.
All right. Speaking of landing, all right, Bailey Jackson, next time get a picture with your whole face there, Bailey.
Well, I'm sorry. I was quickly taking a picture.
Yeah.
Because I was told I had to take a picture.
So Bailey was this was the second time you've done this?
Yeah. So I was the color commentator on the 5A girls and 5A boys lower state championship Friday night in Florence, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And broadcast on the NFHS network.
How many cameras do they have?
One. But hey, so on air, I said, hey, Tyler Cupp is the guy. He does a great job that I work with. He's at WRHI in Rock Hill. I've known him forever, and he's just really good. And he does all these games. And I said, Tyler, I said, fans, if you're out there watching, Tyler told me during the break that he reached out to Jay Billis, and Jay Billis was booked, so he called me. So I'm the second choice, but I'll still do it. Because Tyler asked me to do it. Yeah, but it's fun. I have a good time doing it. And, I got a lot of positive comments about it. So hopefully it was okay.
Very good. Very good. We're proud of you, and we love to have the Fun Fans. The more exposure, the better. And going all the way to Florence for the lower state championship. And we could probably do a whole show, which we will not, on the high school league and all the things they take heat for, which one would include having the upper state championship also in Florence. Anyway, all right, moving on. Speaking of moving on, there was another storming of the court, Bailey.
Yeah.
And we're starting to run out of time. I got a quote. Here's a quote. But you're going to have some kid get in the face or walk up on a player, and the player is going to respond in a way that nobody's going to like because he's going to feel threatened. Then we're going to have a real problem. Brad Brownell.
Yes.
So we've talked about this before. Bailey and I agree on the initial something's got to happen. It's got to change. It needs to stop. How to handle it is a little different, which for basketball, did you see the video of this most recent incident?
Yes, I'll tell you how you handled it. I was watching the game the other night, and there was a chance that people were going to go out on the court. So your university needs to have enough people ready, and you can do it. You know those little plastic chains you can buy at Lowe's?
Yeah.
If you get one that's 94 feet long, and you have about 30 people line up with that chain, and as soon as the game's over, they pull it tight and protect the players that are shaking hands from the crowd. You can still let the crowd go out behind the chain. But so the crowd at this game was actually running onto the court before the game was over.
I saw that. There's about a second and a half.
Some more chains up.
Yeah, they were off the chain.
Right.
Yeah, so every scenario is unique. Every venue is going to have a unique solution. But that's similar to the graphic I had on here from our Fun Fan Podcast graphics team, how we could still gather at the Paul with some type of
you have to block off the other team.
You're going to have to, and if nothing else, those temporary and could be permanent eventually. Just put a metal railing up. It's hard to stop if everybody's just standing there, like in most basketball venues, and all they got to do is run out on the court. That's very, very hard to stop. But if there's a 2.5 foot, railing they have to step over, then it don't take near as many people to hold them back. And we're talking 30 seconds or so. And then everybody can do their thing. But that was definitely another example. And it don't matter. I like what Coach Brownell said, because it don't matter if the players we're talking about player safety, we're talking about fan safety, we're just talking about safety in general. It really don't matter. This part's not funny, but this particular example, did you see the clip where really, if you look at it, it looks like the Duke player saw the guy coming and tried to trip him, and that's how he hurt his knee.
Well, he tried to kind of push him off out of his way. All right, as a player, you just got beat.
So he went in self-defense mode.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
He sorry.
He saw him coming.
This is an all ACC caliber player that could be injured. Okay?
Right. It don't matter who gets, like I said, it's the players, it's the fans. Something's got to change.
What did I tweet last night?
I don't know.
That storming the court puts players, coaches, officials, and fans in a bad situation. Period.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it, people.
So no matter what he was trying to do, it's just an injury waiting to happen. So I think this will definitely be season's almost over. You think something will happen before the year's out, or think something's going to happen before next year, without a doubt?
I don't know, but the fans at Little John are so lame this year for whatever reason. No chance of storming a court. I'm getting tired of seeing Brownell and PJ Hall trying to get the crowd pumped up. Man, come on.
Get crunk, Tiger fans. Get crunk.
Crunk.
All right, well, we will see what happens there, and if they're looking for solutions, they're welcome to call.
Yeah, they can call us.
They can call us, and we'll hook them up. We know what we're talking about. We get on here and have a good time. We know we've done this kind of stuff before. And speaking of doing some stuff, all right, what is coming up? What can we have some fun at? This weekend is another Palmetto Bowl baseball situation. Clemson versus the Gamecocks. So they play at Columbia at USC Friday. They'll play at a neutral site in Columbia Saturday. And the Clemson home game for the Tigers will be Sunday at 2:00.
Yeah,
so looking
weather
forward.
Doesn't look great.
It doesn't?
Well, I mean, come on. You need to be a weatherman if you only want to be right 30% of the time.
Yeah. We look forward to that, though. And Bailey's already brought this up. Tuesday, March 5th, basketball versus Syracuse is senior night, where Katie's going to be recognized for her years as a cheerleader. So
we think.
I'm pretty sure the fun fans will be in the house. for that one. And the dance is coming. You just went through a couple weeks, and then the ACC tournament, the big dance is coming, and the Fun Fans are going to have another bracket challenge this year. And I got a prize in mind. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but it's going to be an awesome prize for the winner. All right, but speaking of prizes, this show was like a prize. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Shout out to Clemson Hockey and the Swamp Rabbits. Even though the Rabbit turned into a Gamecock fan, we appreciate those guys were a definitely integral part of hosting that Palmetto Bowl here in Greenville. And we're looking forward to seeing our men in the postseason, no matter what happens.
That's right.
So thanks again for checking us out each and every Sunday and Wednesday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on social media and share. Reach out if you want to become a sponsor. Look at the ticker stuff going across the bottom. And on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thrilla Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
Yeah, Mr. Swamp Rabbit, I better not catch you in Greenville somewhere. Watch your back, Swamp Rabbit.
Watch your back, Rabbit. Go